Welcome back. You're watching DD India News Hour. Lipakshi Khuranan. Moving on, Prime Minister Narendra Modi arrived in New York on the second leg of his three-day visit to the U.S. During his visit, the Prime Minister will attend the Summit of the Future at United Nations on Sunday. He will also interact with the community and attend other programs. He will also chair key bilateral meetings during his New York visit. Prime Minister Modi was warmly welcomed by the Indian community upon his arrival at the hotel. Well, India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi, who is on a three-day visit to United States, participated in the Quad Leaders Summit in Wilmington, Delaware, being hosted by U.S. President Joe Biden in his hometown. This is the sixth Quad Summit, of which two took place virtually. While Prime Minister Modi used the acronym for Quad as Quick Unified Assistance Delivery and underlined the need to establish Indo-Pacific inclusivity and prosperity as the grouping's shared priority. Quad leaders appreciated him for the leadership role in the Indian Ocean. President Biden said that the U.S. has things to learn from India's experience and leadership in the Indian Ocean.
The Quad has become a pivotal force in shaping shifting geopolitical dynamics. Amid global tensions and conflicts, the alliance comprising India, the US, Japan and Australia convened in Wilmington, Delaware. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi highlighted the Indo-Pacific inclusivity and prosperity as a shared priority, with a clear message that the cooperation of the nations is important for humanity, given the current world order. He also thanked President Biden for expanding cooperation across critical areas like health, technology and climate change.
Free, open, inclusive और प्रॉस्परस इंडो पैसिफिक हमारी साझा प्राथमिकता और साझा प्रतिबद्धता है। हमने मिलकर हेल्थ सिक्योरिटी, क्रिटिकल एंड इमर्जिंग टेक्नोलॉजीज, क्लाइमेट चेंज, कैपेसिटी बिल्डिंग जैसे क्षेत्रों में कई सकारात्मक और समावेशी इनिशिएटिव लिए हैं।
PM Modi also asserted that the Quad was not against anyone and it supported rules-based international order.
हमारी बैठक ऐसे समय हो रही है जब विश्व तनावों और संघर्षों से घिरा हुआ है। ऐसे में साझा डेमोक्रेटिक वैल्यूज के आधार पर क्वाड का मिलकर साथ चलना पूरी मानवता के लिए बहुत ही महत्वपूर्ण है। हम किसी के खिलाफ नहीं हैं। हम सभी एक रूल्स बेस्ड इंटरनेशनल ऑर्डर, संप्रभुता और क्षेत्रीय अखंडता के सम्मान और सभी मसलों के शांतिपूर्ण ढंग से हल निकालने का समर्थन करते हैं।
US President Joe Biden echoed this sentiment, affirming that the Quad is more aligned than ever, announcing new initiatives.
Today, we're announcing a series of initiatives to deliver real, positive impact for the Indo-Pacific that includes providing new maritime technologies to our regional partners so they know what's happening in their waters, launching cooperation between coast guards for the first time, and expanding the Quad Fellowship to include students from Southeast Asia.
Japanese PM and his Australian counterpart further stressed on the need of an institution like Quad that plays a crucial role in strengthening security and peace in the region. They called Quad to work together for a more secure and open international order.
It is ever more important for us, the Quad, who share values such as freedom and democracy, to continue to demonstrate our firm commitment to our common vision of FOIP, the free and open Indo-Pacific, to the international community.
Partnerships like the Quad are crucial, providing us with an avenue to discuss shared responsibilities and goals and strengthening the enduring relationships necessary for lasting stability.
In an ever-evolving world, the Quad's commitment to a free, open and inclusive Indo-Pacific is crucial for the future of global stability and cooperation. With Amritpal Singh in the United States, Bureau Report, DD India.
And India, USA, Australia and Japan expressed serious concern about the coercive and intimidating maneuvers in South China Sea. In the joint declaration named as Wilmington Declaration, the leaders of the Quad countries came out heavily against any misadventures that break the international rules-based order. Countries participating in Quad Summit emphasized the urgent need to make UNSC more representative, inclusive, transparent, democratic and accountable. The Quad nations in their declaration expressed an unequivocal condemnation against terrorism and violent extremism in all its form and manifestations, including cross-border terrorism, and affirmed commitment for international cooperation. The Quad nations also announces key initiatives to address the development priorities of the Indo-Pacific region and of the global community. These initiatives include Quad Cancer Moonshot to combat cervical cancer, Maritime Initiative for Training in the Indo-Pacific, Quad at Sea Ship Observer Mission, Quad Ports of the Future Partnership, Quad Principles for Development and Deployment of Digital Public Infra, Semiconductor Supply Chains Contingency Network for Cooperation, Collective Quad Effort to Boost Energy Efficiency, India's establishment of a space-based web portal for Mauritius, additional Quad STEM Fellowship for Engineering degree for Indo-Pacific students in India, people-to-people initiatives, working together to address regional and global enduring partners for the Indo-Pacific. Moreover, on the sidelines of the Quad meet, Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi, along with US President Joe Biden, Australian PM Anthony Albanese and Japanese PM Fumio Kishida attended the Cancer Moonshot event. Quadrilateral Cancer Moonshot initiative was launched by Quad leaders to prevent, detect, treat and alleviate the impact of cervical cancer. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi announced a special fund to fight against the cervical cancer. PM Modi said Quad has decided to jointly tackle challenges of cervical cancer.
यह एफोर्डेबल, एक्सेसिबल और क्वालिटी हेल्थ केयर के लिए हमारे साझे दृढ़ निश्चय को दर्शाता है। एक्सेलेंसी, भारत अपना एक्सपीरियंस और एक्सपर्टाइज शेयर करने के लिए तैयार है। आज कैंसर केयर में काम करने वाले भारत के कई एक्सपर्ट्स इस इवेंट्स में हमारे साथ जुड़े हैं। भारत का विजन है वन अर्थ वन हेल्थ। इसी भावना से मैं क्वाड मूनशॉट इनिशिएटिव के तहत $7.5 मिलियन के सैपलिंग किट्स, डिटेक्शन किट्स और वैक्सीन का सहयोग देने की घोषणा करता हूं।
Well, Prime Minister further said that India will also cooperate in radiotherapy treatment and capacity building and announced another fund for vaccine doses in the Indo-Pacific region.
मुझे खुशी है कि इंडो पैसिफिक देशों के लिए गावी और क्वाड की पहलों के अंतर्गत भारत से 40 मिलियन वैक्सीन डोसेज का योगदान दिया जाएगा। ये 40 मिलियन वैक्सीन डोसेज करोड़ों लोगों के जीवन में आशा की किरणें बनेगी। As you can see, when the Quad acts, it is not just for nations, it is for the people. This is the true essence of our human-centric approach. Dhanyavad.
Right, a major announcement was also made in Delaware on the sidelines of the summit. Addressing the event, U.S. President Joe Biden said that over $150 million for HPV screening and therapeutics will be initiated. He added that Quad Cancer Moonshot means more collaboration between hospitals, research centers and cancer foundations.
Quad Cancer Moonshot means more collaboration between our hospitals, research centers and cancer foundations. More investment in screenings, treatment, and research, and more exchanges between our countries to improve vaccination rates all across the region. Right now, only 1 in 10 women across the Indo-Pacific, which is the most populated part of the world, have received HPV vaccinations for cervical cancer. So I'm proud to announce that our 4 countries, the leaders behind me, and many organizations here today are committing over $150 million for HPV screening and therapeutics. And next year, doctors and nurses from the U.S. Navy will begin a program to train Indo-Pacific counterparts in conducting cervical cancer screening and vaccination so we can reach every woman in the region.
Also, Japanese PM said that his country has offered support for deployment of equipment and technical assistance in the Indo-Pacific region.
Regarding the measures against cervical cancers, we have supported the deployment of medical equipment and facilities, offered technical cooperation, or have contributed to international organizations including Gavi Vaccine Alliances, UNFPA, and IAPPF, among others, and such endeavors will continue going forward. We will cooperate with you closely in order to bring together the technologies and networks of the Quad to raise the effects of our measures against cancers even further.
Also, Australian Prime Minister said that HPV vaccines were manufactured by Australia and is on track to become first country to eliminate the cervical cancer.
Australia is expanding our funding commitment. The expansion will use Australian cervical cancer expertise to help more partner governments get HPV vaccine programs up and running across the region. This will also increase screening and treatment and provide support for health workers. It will build on what we've learnt in the Western Highlands of Papua New Guinea and Vanuatu and make it available to Malaysia, Timor-Leste, the Solomons, Tuvalu, Fiji and Nauru as well.
India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi met US President Joe Biden on the margins of the Quad summit. Prime Minister Modi was welcomed by Biden at his residence and both the leaders shared a warm gesture. Prime Minister conveyed his appreciation for the unparalleled contributions made by President Biden in giving impetus to the India-US partnership. Both the leaders had discussions focusing on ways to further deepen the bilateral partnership in areas of mutual interest. Leaders exchanged views on global and regional issues, including the Indo-Pacific region and beyond. Leaving the Biden's residence following the talks, both leaders expressed confidence in the strength and continuing resilience of the relationship. Sharing pictures on X, Prime Minister Modi thanked Biden for hosting him at his residence in Greenville, Delaware. He termed the talks as extremely fruitful as both the leaders had an opportunity to discuss regional and global issues during the meeting. While sharing an emotional post on social media platform X, Biden wrote that each time they sit down, he's struck by their ability to find new areas of cooperation and that today was no different. And during Prime Minister Narendra Modi's ongoing visit, the US has facilitated return of 297 stolen or trafficked antiquities to India. In a symbolic handing over, a select few pieces were showcased to PM Modi and President Biden on the sidelines of their bilateral meeting in Wilmington, Delaware. PM Modi thanked President Biden for his support in the return of these artifacts. He noted that these objects were not just part of India's historical material culture, but formed the inner core of its civilization and consciousness. India and USA recently signed the first ever cultural property agreement to prevent illegal trafficking of cultural property and retrieval of antiquities. The antiquities belong to a time period spanning almost 4,000 years from 2000 BCE to 1900 CE and have origins in different parts of India. Also, India's PM Modi gifted an antique silver hand-engraved train model to President Biden, signifying the robust linkages between India and the US. The model has been customized by inscribing Delhi, Delaware on the sides of the main carriage and Indian Railways on the sides of the engine in English and Hindi based on the standard format used on passenger trains in India. This vintage silver hand-engraved train model is a rare and extraordinary piece masterfully crafted by artisans from Maharashtra, renowned for its rich heritage in silver craftsmanship. This masterpiece not only highlights the artisan's exceptional skill, but also serves as a glowing testimony to the long history of Indian Railways and its global influences. While Pashmina shawl in papier mache box was the gift for the First Lady of US, Jill Biden, Pashmina shawl of exceptional quality and unparalleled beauty comes from Jammu and Kashmir. Pashmina shawls are heirlooms passed down through generations, carrying memories and emotions within their threads. Pashmina shawls, traditionally compact in papier mache boxes from J&K that are renowned for their exquisite beauty and craftsmanship. And India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi and his Australian counterpart Anthony Albanese held bilateral talks on the sidelines of the Quad summit in Delaware. Leaders held talks on several regional and global issues. Also on the sidelines of Quad Leaders Summit, Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi held bilateral talks with his Japanese counterpart Fumio Kishida. The two leaders noted that the India-Japan Special Strategic and Global Partnership is in its 10th year and expressed satisfaction at the progress made in the relationship. The two Prime Ministers reviewed the multifaceted relationship between the two countries and exchanged views to deepen cooperation further, including defense and security ties and B2B and P2P collaborations. Well, bilateral economic partnership has taken the center stage as Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi visits the US. DD India's Shubhendu Ghosh gets us more on this from New York. Take a look.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi is on a 3-day visit to the United States. PM's visit is expected to give new momentum to India-US economic ties, particularly in the domain of critical and emerging technologies. On Sunday, Prime Minister will interact with top American CEOs in New York.
Trade relationship between India are geopolitically aligned. Tactically, they're important. But more important, you have to understand, as the stress point goes up between US and China, the de-risking of supply chain becomes critical for US companies. And that's where India becomes very, very critical in trying to bring in much more stable supply chain from India into the US.
US is the largest trading partner of India with overall bilateral trade of over $190 billion in 2023. During financial year 23-24, US was the third largest source of FDI into India with inflows of $4.99 billion, accounting for almost 9% of total FDI equity inflows. Many Indian companies are investing in the US. According to a recent study, 163 Indian companies invested over $40 billion in the US and created over 400,000 direct jobs. Beyond economics, US-India partnership is strengthened by deep people-to-people connections. The Indian diaspora in the United States plays a crucial role in fostering cultural and business exchanges. The economic relationship between India and the United States has entered a new era of strategic importance with deepening cooperation in critical sectors such as technology and defense. Prime Minister Modi's US visit is expected to bring greater synergy between the two dynamic economies. Shubhendu Ghosh for DD India in New York.
Well, Prime Minister Modi will address the Summit of the Future at the United Nations on 23rd of September. DD India's Amritpal Singh reports for more from the UN headquarters.
United Nations, the apex global body which has often been criticized for failing humanity to address its current problems. The UN is now staging a summit of the future, which has an ambitious agenda to find solutions to the emerging problems, the solutions to problems which may affect humanity in the near future, to evolve a global consensus, a pact for future which solves humanity's problems. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will be addressing world leaders on Monday at the Summit of the Future, making a strong case for keeping international commitments on sustainable development, financing for the developing countries, and transforming the global governance architecture to make it more effective and equitable. But the big question is, will world leaders be able to keep their differences aside and find solutions to the problems of the world? But despite the cynicism, it is a welcome step by the UN because, as the Mahatma once said, the future depends on what you do today. With cameraman Sumit Naudyal, this is Amrit Pal Singh for DD India at the UN headquarters in New York.
And DD India Shubhendu Ghosh visited the New York University campus to find out what young people expect from the Summit of the Future and what they feel about emerging technologies. Take a listen.
Summit of the Future is taking place at the United Nations in New York. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi will be addressing this summit. I have with me what looks like a bright future. Well, I'm talking about young students, Indian and American, at the prestigious New York University. And this red building that you see behind us, this imposing structure, is the Bob's Library, an iconic structure that is center of the academic and intellectual life of the students here. I have with me Alvina and her friends who are here to talk with us. Alvina, first, not very far from here at the United Nations headquarters, Summit of the Future is going to be deliberating on sustainable tomorrow. What are your thoughts on what this summit is going to be deliberating on, and what kind of action-oriented agenda would you like to see?
I would say, obviously, we, the millennials or the Gen Z, are really looking forward to leave a better planet for our next generations. And what we would hope is, obviously, all the global leaders and all the stakeholders to take some actionable insights to make sure that we are moving towards a more sustainable future for us.
In response to your question, I think the summit does bring a lot of hope for the future. In the past, a lot of summits that have occurred, I feel like, have not really achieved the goals that they have set. I'm hoping that this will be more action-driven and really will solve all the problems that they have identified in previous summits.
All right.
Hi, I think the summit is mainly focusing on tackling the environmental issues, which is actually the need of the hour, because India has been progressing in every other domain, especially under the current government.
All right. Another aspect of the Summit of the Future is the manner in which new emerging technologies are going to be looked at, are going to be adapted by different nations. AI is something that has been making a lot of buzz around the world.
As you talked about AI, so AI is one of the fastest growing technologies right now, and with the growth of AI, the growth of semiconductor industries has been massive. And with the recent success of the Semicon meeting in India, where everyone around the world came to India to promote the semiconductor industry and lead to the growth of AI, I'm pretty hopeful about it.
As an AI architect myself, I've seen that AI plays a really big role in a lot of industries, healthcare, any type of engineering, healthcare, AI plays a big role. So, as the name suggests, Summit of the Future, and it gives us a glimpse of the future.
I strongly feel that technological advancement is a value that is shared by both India and the United States. And Prime Minister in his speeches also mentions about sustainable development, technological advancement, and talks about Viksit Bharat.
All right, these were young, bright students, Indian and American, at the New York University, talking about the Summit of the Future and the potential of India-United States ties. With camera person Sumit Naudyal, Shubhendu Ghosh for DD India in New York.
All right, that's all for this edition of DD India News Hour, but let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on the DD India mobile app. The app is available on both Android and iOS platforms. Scan the QR code on the screen to download now. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Lipakshi Khurana from all of us here in Delhi. Thanks for watching DD India News Hour.